everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of Question and Answer. I got a lot of questions from people, so kind of sifting through those, I came across kind of a theme. And so what I want to talk about today is the most important skill that I teach in therapy. Or in other words, people ask, what is the most important thing that a person needs to learn? And it really comes down into two different things. One is emotion regulation, and the other one is understanding the inner voice that we have inside of us. So I'll break those down a little bit. So let's go into emotion regulation. In order to regulate your emotions, you have to be able to do identification of the emotion that you're feeling, and then to be able to communicate that emotion. So identification, communication leads to regulation. Now, how can you do that? Well, you can find yourself something like this. This is an emotions wheel. And an emotions wheel kind of breaks things down for you. You can just Google this, look it under images, and there's tons of different examples of how it works. So let me show you a little bit on how it works. So let's say in the middle here we have fear. So I'm feeling afraid of something. So am I feeling horror, nervous, insecure, terror, or scared? So that's that first level. And if I find that I'm insecure, then I can go to the next level. Am I feeling inadequate or am I feeling inferior? Inadequate is I don't feel like I'm not capable to be able to do something, and inferior is that I believe that I'm not as good at it as someone else. And so there's a whole display of different emotions here, and it can just help broaden that vocabulary to be able to then know how to communicate it. So for instance, I'm over at my buddy's house and we're sitting in his kitchen, and his son kept coming into the kitchen and then leave, and he'd come back in the kitchen, open up things, and then he'd leave, and then he'd come back and I go, dude, you're not hungry, you're bored. And he goes, oh, that makes a lot more sense. And then he left. And then he didn't come back. And so just helping him identify, he's like, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. But as soon as he was like, oh, I'm bored. Okay, that makes more sense. I get it. And he was able to leave and go do something else. So it's really important to be able to identify what emotion you're feeling and to be able to communicate it, because then you can regulate. That goes into the inner voice as well. So there's 3 different parts of the inner voice. One is about procrastination. The other one is about self-worth. And the other one is about your capability. So procrastination, that's a completely different video. But it's things that you'll say to yourself like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, I can see the trash needs to go out, but give me another 15 minutes or something. You need to know what those voices are so that you can talk back to them and say, well, I know I need to do that, but it's only going to take 3 minutes, so let's do it now. Understanding how to talk back to that voice is really key. Then you have other things like your self-worth. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. There's no way that they'll hire me for that. You have to be able to talk back to that and to be able to say, who's to say you're not worthy to be able to do that? You're not smart enough. Maybe they can teach you on the job. Just apply for it and see what they'll do. Make it their responsibility, not your responsibility that you didn't get the job. The other thing is about capability. I can't do this. I'll never learn. You have to know what those inner voices are so that you can talk back to them. If it's like, I can't do this, well, of course you can't. You haven't learned it yet. So keep practicing. Maybe we need to break it down into smaller chunks. Maybe I need to ask somebody for help. So don't just let that I can't do it be the final say. So if you have another question that you'd like to ask, leave a comment. You can also go to my website, Cameron-R-Armstrong.com. And it seems a lot of people like to go into that. It says contact for a quote. And you can send an email that way and ask a question. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in episode 3.